Okay, this is Dr. McDaniel back with you. This is part 3. I'm on land now here in Venice. Today is Tuesday, June 25th, and this is the last part of today's presentation on preventing cervical cancer. The first 2 parts I gave the rehash, and then now I just wanted to add a bit about the conventional versus the liquid Pap smear. So as I stated, the conventional Pap smear is where we plate the microscopic slide ourselves in the office. So I have a spatula and a brush, I slide it on the scope, and then spray a fixative, cover slip, the lab processes it, looks at the slide under the microscope. It's wrought with potential issues because the cells can be clumped up or they can be obscured with debris, cervical vaginal debris. So there are potential issues with interpretation or evaluation of the slide that will make it difficult for the cytopathologist to give us an accurate report. That's why the liquid Pap smear was invented. The liquid Pap smear was invented because we switch the spatula and the brush around in liquid, and then what they're able to do is they're able to make one very thin layer of cervical cells, and they can make multiple slides of the cervical cells to evaluate them much more precisely than on the conventional Pap smear. So because the Pap smear is a screening test, it does have a false normal and a false abnormal rate. With the conventional Pap smear, the false normal and the false abnormal rate, or what we call the false negative and positive rate, is between 35 and 45%. So that means 35 to 45% of the time when people are told their Pap is normal or abnormal, it's not true. Either the abnormal cells are still sitting on the cervix, they never made it to the slide, or they made it to the slide and they weren't identified, or the cells are irregular, abnormal, unusual looking because of environmental factors that have disallowed the Pap to be cleared as normal. And the believable rate for the conventional Pap smear is between 55 and 65%. So when someone's told their Pap is normal or abnormal, that's absolutely the case. Once you add the liquid, we do what's called co-testing. So we do, the pathology doctors or cytopathologists will plate the Pap slide, they'll evaluate the cells, then they're left over with the liquid, which has body fluids. Those body fluids are then processed for a viral culture to look for the presence or the absence of human papillomavirus, or HPV, which is responsible for 99% of cervical cancers. Now, if the co-testing agrees, and that means if the cells that were plated on the thin prep look totally normal, and the viral culture is negative for viral infection, then that's an agreement. Or if the cells look totally abnormal and the culture is positive for the presence of human papillomavirus or HPV, then we call that an agreement. And if they agree, then that increases the believability rate. So from that true normal or abnormal rate of 55 to 65%, it increases with the co-testing up to 85, even 95% in some of the research and testing. And that false rate, that non-believable rate, what we call the false negative, which is false normal, or false positive, which is a false abnormal, that rate decreases from the 35 to 45% with the conventional all the way down to 5 to 15% with the co-testing. Now, of course, there's a caveat, and that catch is that if they don't agree, either the cells look normal and the culture is positive, or the cells look abnormal and the culture is negative for HPV activity, then the believability and the non-believability rate go back to what we had with the conventional Pap smear. So it's as if you didn't do the culture. But the liquid Pap smear allows us to increase or to improve the detection rate for irregular, abnormal, potentially precancerous cells, and to clear women with more confidence if it comes back normal. Now tomorrow I'll start going into how we define the Pap, the different categories, and what the management is for those different categories. I'm going to do a last overview here. I'm on the on one of the Ks here in Venice. This is Dr. McDaniel at GYN Corner. Please check out the YouTube channel. That's also GYN Corner. And if you're in the area, come by the office. It's Midtown GYN, and that's because we're in Midtown Manhattan, New York City, on 35th Street, West Side. That's between 7th and 8th Avenues. Thank you for watching. I'll do a last panorama. Have a good rest of the day. I'll be back Wednesday.